Most people look at a CPU cooler and don't think much of it. It's just another part inside the PC case, quietly doing its job in the background while everything else gets the attention. But once you start pushing modern processors harder, gaming, rendering, multitasking, that quiet part suddenly becomes one of the most important components in your entire system. Because when cooling fails, performance doesn't just drop, it throttles. And that's exactly where the Cooler Master ML240, our ARGB ARGB liquid CPU cooler enters the picture. At first glance, it follows the familiar formula of a 240mm AIO liquid cooler. You get a dual fan radiator setup, flexible tubing, a pump head with RGB lighting, and a design that clearly expects to be shown off in a tempered glass case. But specs alone don't tell the full story. On paper, this cooler delivers up to 2,000 revolutions per minute fan speed, around 66.7 CFM airflow, and a noise level that can go as low as 15 dB. Those numbers already suggest a focus on efficiency and acoustic control rather than raw aggressive performance. And that balance is what makes it interesting. Modern CPUs don't behave like they used to. They spike quickly, they run hotter under load, and they demand consistent thermal control rather than short bursts of cooling power. So the real question is not whether it can cool a CPU. It's how well it can maintain stability when things stay intense for longer periods. Installation is fairly straightforward. The mounting system doesn't feel overly complex, and the tubing has enough flexibility to fit into a wide range of PC cases without feeling forced or awkward. That matters more than people think, especially for first-time builders. Once installed and powered on, the visual identity immediately stands out. The ARGB lighting system activates with a smooth glow, giving the build a modern, polished look without going overboard. It doesn't feel like it's trying too hard, it just blends into a clean setup aesthetic that many PC builders aim for today. But lighting is only surface level. Performance is where everything gets decided. At idle or during light workloads, the cooler is almost unnoticeable. Fan speeds stay low, temperatures remain stable, and acoustic output blends into the background. In normal day-to-day use, it's easy to forget it's even running. Under heavier loads, such as gaming sessions or productivity tasks like rendering or encoding, the behavior changes, but in a controlled way. The fans ramp up gradually instead of jumping straight to maximum speed. That creates a smoother transition in noise levels, avoiding sudden spikes that can be distracting during use. Thermal performance stays consistent under sustained load, which is where many cooling solutions start to struggle. Short bursts are easy to handle. Long sessions are where heat buildup becomes a real challenge. Even when pushed harder, the sound profile remains relatively clean. Instead of harsh noise or high-pitched fan whine, it maintains a more stable airflow tone that feels less intrusive. Of course, no cooling solution exists in isolation. A portion of this product's appeal is also tied to aesthetics. The RGB lighting, pump design, and overall visual presentation clearly target users who want both performance and a visually appealing setup. For some users, that's a major advantage. For others, it might not matter at all. But the important part is that performance is not sacrificed for design. Both aspects coexist without one heavily compromising the other. And that's really what defines this category of cooling solution today. Because modern PC cooling is no longer just about achieving low temperatures for a few seconds. It's about sustaining performance over time, keeping thermals under control, and ensuring the system remains stable without turning your setup into a noisy environment. This cooler fits into that middle ground where performance, usability, and design meet. It may not be trying to redefine the category, but it doesn't need to. It focuses on doing the fundamentals properly and consistently. And in PC hardware, consistency is often more valuable than extreme peak performance numbers. So whether you're building a new gaming rig, upgrading from a stock cooler, or just trying to improve thermal performance without going into extreme pricing tiers, this kind of AIO cooler makes a lot of practical sense. It's not about hype. It's about stability, balance, and long-term usability.